The Heisman Trophy race was one of the best I've ever witnessed, but one player came just a couple hundred points short of winning it, and I want to see if I can change history by controlling him. It's no secret that Ashton Jeanty had one of the best collegiate seasons ever from a running back, but I'm gonna challenge myself to do more with him in this video than ever before. I've written out 5 goals I want to achieve, including taking home the Heisman, winning a national championship, and breaking some of Barry Sanders' records. With my lack of skill, it's gonna be very challenging to do on the hardest difficulty, so we'll see what happens if Travis Hunter wins it again or we're able to change history. I'd like to think of this first game at Georgia Southern as a little bit of a warm-up, but let me tell you, we are going to need it because right after, we're going to have to play at Oregon. Now, the good thing about controlling a running back is I can't throw interceptions in this video, but I know that I'm going to have to put together some good runs, and on this first play right here, we're already making somebody miss. We're going to have a ton of fun using him in this video, but I still think we're going to struggle to achieve everything I want to. I mean, we're already finding ourselves on a 3rd down, but once again, we're going to keep feeding it to him. He's getting 30 carries a game. We will do what it takes to win with Boise State. That's it. But he did get pulled on 2nd down, and whenever it's a passing play, I am going to player lock just because that is more fair. I only want to control him. We still have a ways to go on this drive if we're going to get a touchdown. But he's currently averaging 5 yards per carry. The blocks are lining up pretty well right here, and we just got to dust by these kids. I wish we were playing against future plumbers and accountants like everybody likes to say, but they're still really talented. And here's the thing. I'm not sure I even love the decision of him getting the ball on 3rd and 5, but if he can make something happen, it would be great. I really thought we were going to score a touchdown right there. I was not expecting them to make that tackle. We just need him to get out in open space like that. For reference, against Georgia Southern in real life, he had 3 touchdowns, 267 yards. So if we want to stay on pace to match what he did throughout this year, those are the types of numbers I'm looking for in this game, with this run going for like 15 right here. We seem to get subbed out about every 4 to 5 runs, though. That makes sense, so that is coming. They're doing such a good job of disengaging from these blocks and making sure they actually tackle Jeanty. He's actually going to have to watch this 3rd and 7 from the sideline because he is not out there. Maddox is going to scramble for the 1st down, though, keeping the drive alive. That's what we needed to see right there. Broncos still moving it. He's fighting. And this is about what he did all season, but he broke off 1 or 2 50-yard runs a game. We need to see those out of him at some point. Maybe it can come right here on 3rd and 6. We are hurdling trying to get the 1st. And that might not have been the smartest of decisions, but I want the highlight plays to happen. We're going to cut up, and he's also going to break the tackle. He's getting loose. Jeanty's in the end zone. He's already hitting the Heisman pose this early on. But Georgia Southern did well. They at least got it back within a possession by hitting a field goal. At the moment, Jeanty has 117 rushing yards, but that's also on like 17 carries. He's already touched the ball 17 times in this game. There is a slight chance that we're going to get him injured in this first matchup, which is not exactly ideal. He had to get some rest for a play. Now we're coming out here with the halfback screen, seeing if this can get us anything right here. I mean, the jukes are filthy, and it could be another run that's just getting stuffed. I think for the rest of this first half, we are going to be stuck throwing the ball, though. If he's the one getting open, we can make plays with him too. Rushing touchdowns are what we're looking for, but we just keep getting fed the ball. And now we're in hurry up mode trying to manage this clock right here. Ashton is going to find his way into the end zone. This is going to be a really good season with him. But I don't think this team is ready for what Oregon is going to do to us next week. We have got to be playing better against the Ducks than we have in this one, and I mean, this run looks sweet. We're just going to keep on going back in his direction. I mean, that's going to be our entire offensive plan. If the blocks can line up for one of these plays, we're going to have a huge run coming. I mean, even right here, it could have happened. There is something to be said, though, about keeping him healthy throughout this entire season. I mean, his wear and tear is picking up, so we might go for one more touchdown. After that, I think he's going to have to come out. He is now over 200 rushing yards in this game, but there's nowhere to go. I mean, just looking at his wear and tear, he's taking way too much damage. But before this major 3rd and goal, the quarter ended, so we had some chance for him to rest, and he is going to get his 3rd of the day. He's basically on pace now to do what he did against Georgia Southern in real life. But there could be a garbage time touchdown coming. I mean, we're still running him, even though you can see how slow he is. Knowing how wear and tear works in this game, I might have messed us up big time for the game against Oregon. And we probably shouldn't be trying to run up the score against Georgia Southern, but this is the final play of the game, and he's going to get another catch. No touchdown right there, but he still finished with 3. And I think we opened up the season pretty well besides the 36 carries. I really just have to hope that after advancing the week, his health goes all the way back to normal. And I'm hoping that we can win Mountain West Offensive Player of the Week every single week of this season. Looking at his health, though, we are going into this next one with him having -3 speed against the best team in the country. And that just shows that there has to be some strategy about how much he gets the ball. I don't love seeing stuff like that, knowing how good the Ducks are. But it's a rainy game. They've already fumbled the ball away to us, and we're going to see if we can do anything with it. One thing that I'm going to have to pick up on throughout this season is not immediately hitting the Excel sell button, but mixing it in so he can get bigger runs like that. I also think the weather is going to favor our offense a lot in this matchup, but this is probably the one time this season where our offensive line simply is not better. He can still make a play right here for us though. We have done exactly what we shouldn't be doing, only feeding him the football, not throwing it at all. And it's given us no choice but to go through the air on 3rd and 8. I can't say he's open here. I don't know what's happening. It's a touchdown. Look at that. We've started up 7-0, but Oregon responded back. In this drive, we have to go a lot further down the field. The goal of winning a national championship with Boise State might be the hardest one we're setting out to do in this video. I mean, we can't just hand it off forever. We have done that on this drive. It's 3rd and inches. He's going to easily pick it up. I want to avoid the hit, but at some point, some other players have to get involved, and what I might even have to do is just make it to where I sub him out for plays, but we're scoring again. Maddox Madsen's already hooked up with his receivers twice in this one. And the more time that Jeanty has the rest in between our drives, the better. But right here, we need a big play and we couldn't spin in time. I think on 3rd and 2, we are going to be stuck throwing the ball. We were open, but it's all good. The Ducks couldn't score to end the 2nd quarter. And I think we all know that this has not been a Heisman performance from Jeanty in this game at all. He went into this one way too beat up though. We got to get that pitch out in time. It's literally just gone backwards. I picked it up. I didn't want to for a second, and it was thinking about his rushing stats, but that would have been such a dumb decision to give Oregon the ball in that position. Now we're open on 3rd down, but we don't get it. I still can't believe that my instincts were to run away from that football. I mean, they ended up scoring either way. We can't hit the 2nd level fast enough. That -3 speed because of the wear and tear is really affecting him against the Ducks. If we're going to beat the Ducks, though, we just have to rely on Maddox right here. I'm going to run around with Jeanty, and there's been a fumble. Apparently, Oregon has scooped it up. They're taking it back for a touchdown, and everything's just starting to go downhill. By the time that we even made the cut to get open, he was already getting hit in the face, basically. They literally didn't catch it. That looks like it was a throw. Hang on. For a second, I thought I was going to challenge it, but as you can see, it did get punched out. Oregon might have us beat right here, though. I mean, we have to have a perfect drive. We have to be able to get at least a field goal out of it. With the halfback screen, there's like nowhere to go. I knew that this one was going to be tough for us, but I thought it was going to go a little bit better than this. I didn't even feel right trying to call for the ball right there. Did we end up getting the 1st down? What a run from Maddox Madsen. Apparently he scrambled for it. We needed that. And looking at these stats, it's just not great offensively. I mean, Oregon hasn't played the best either, but we're the team that has to score 10 more points. If you look underneath Ashton Jeanty as well, you will see that his wear and tear is just completely gone. I mean, he has nothing left. Even if he breaks that, there was no way he could be out there for this 3rd and 3, and it's going to make a big difference. 4th and inches as well. He's just not on the field. Maddox isn't getting enough. And even by the time that we finally got the ball back, down by 17 now, he's not on the field. I think he got so beat up that he just got rested for the rest of the game. So that's why there's nothing better than seeing that we have a bye week after that performance. I mean, he rushed for 83 yards off of 15 carries, but he was too tired to do much else. We've had a great learning experience to begin the season, and now we get to go to the Smurf turf. After having some time to rest, I'm expecting Jeanty to have a monster game against FCS Northwest. And here we go. On his first snap, he is going to have 2 guys that he needs to make miss. The pursuit angles on this game have definitely gotten better. I can tell just alone off of this, but I still see the vision. We should be able to pick up this 3rd down and a lot more as well. I know that I'm going to hit the hole wrong a lot of the time. I'm trying to avoid hitting R2 too soon at least. But look at this. It's super realistic. They're coming out with 8 people in the box and we can't do much. Fortunately, on the 3rd down that he wasn't able to be out there for, we still picked it up. And I think this has been a really rough start to this game. I mean, we've barely gotten anything going. I'm not impressed by these 4 or 5 yard runs, even if it is efficient for us. I think what I'm going to do is every few games just switch up the playbook, see if we can get anything that really gets Jeanty loose. Like this play right here was a good one for us to find. It was meant to be a simple run up the middle. We'll probably do that right here. I mean, the block's held, and that gets him to 60 total rushing yards. The trap runs might be the best if our blocks can hold, and I figured we would be doing even more against an FCS school, but I was wrong about it. It is now 3rd and 2, probably the final play of the 1st quarter, and I should have just gone straight forward. I mean, we've gotten so lucky that after punting the ball, they immediately threw an interception and we have it on the 5. That was probably the expected turnout to happen, stuff like that in this game. But I feel very fortunate for it because I feel like I have messed up a couple of these runs. To have a Heisman campaign with him, I mean, we got to be putting up up the best stats in the country. And even the best running back stats of all time because we're trying to break Barry Sanders' records. He currently has 20 carries for 88 yards though. It simply just hasn't been happening in this game. Anytime I motion over a player like I did on this play here to help with the blocking though, it doesn't work. And we'll see if going in the right direction helps us out at all. We should go for the hurdle right here. It looked like he was about to pull off the backwards hurdle like Saquon Barkley. That would have been the craziest thing ever. At least we get the first. And I can guarantee there will be a playbook change going into our next matchup though. Right here, we make a couple guys miss. He turns the corner, but he can't go all the way. That was a good little run play right there. We're going to run it back again. The blocks are just not there. With 36 seconds left in the half though, after sitting out on second down, he might be able to help us punch it in. Just straight halfback dives up the gut until we are able to get him his third touchdown. We all know that this game is a huge opportunity for him. Our opponents aren't going to get any easier throughout the season. And I'd say it's just been a massive disappointment. On third down, I don't know what is happening. We should not have gotten thrown the ball there, but we fought. You have to keep the drive alive. 4th and inches is something that we should be getting. And I have one final plan that might be able to get him some big runs, or it could just pitch the ball backwards and we're going to pick it up, but this is going to make his rushing yards even worse. What am I doing? I will never forgive EA for breaking the speed option in this game. This used to be the best running play, and then they just broke it after one of the title updates. They did such a good job at fixing all the stuff that they broke throughout the year as well, so I thought by now it would be fixed. It's not. That's going to cause his stats to be worse. And even by the time that we get the ball back, I wish that I would decide to pull him because he has like 33 carries already. I can't help myself though. His wear and tear doesn't look like it's picked up too bad yet. And this will be it right here. One more run. We're going to give the speed option its last chance because there are still times where it works out decently well. That should have been it, but we did get the ball back with a little bit more time left, and this is exactly why I wanted to mix in just a couple more runs. That's going to do it for this game though. He's already operating with -8 speed. If he didn't have that, it would have been a touchdown. And with some fresh legs out there on the field, the backup dusted them for 6 the next play. Of course, in hindsight, it would have been great if Jeanty had another 60-yard run on this stat line, but with how much his speed was depleted, he might not have pulled it off, and as you can see, there's no wear and tear impacts going into the next one. They might build up a little bit quicker though. Washington State is one of the opponents that I'm worried about. UNLV is another one since we have to play them on the road. And remember, if we don't win out from this point, we're not making the playoffs. Playing on a blue field, we're probably not going to wear blue jerseys all season, and I just prefer it that way. I think it looks a lot better. We had to wait for our left guard to pick up his block, but it's a good start. I'm giving the Clemson playbook a shot. I normally like it for the passing plays, but I also know some decent run ones. And I think tosses could be super effective as long as the blocks do line up like that. We have already started to average a little bit more per carry. We got to get to that next level. And I feel like we're so close to busting off some really big ones. This speed option seems to work a little bit better. Just don't pitch it like 10 yards behind. That is what we cannot have. I'd say this first drive's going pretty well. We're going to mix in another carry. Nothing here. And we have taken a lot of clock with us. As long as we get the wins, that is what's important. I am just waiting for Jeanty to hit the hole well. And like right here, we could have a breakaway run. The blocks aren't staying. But it's okay. We're still making progress. Once again, we're going to get a good little look, and he gets us 7. At the moment, he's averaging 7 yards per carry. This is much more like him. But this 3rd and 3 is the most important part. They got like 9 men in the box, and it doesn't matter. By the time that we have the ball back as well, it's looking pretty good. At least like it seemed it was, but now it is 3rd and 9. I'm stuck with Jeanty, and he is still able to reel this one in for us. Keep on going. Any of these runs that have one of our guards pulling is either a big run or something like that. So that's been something that I think we should stay away from going forward. How is he still up? I know we've tended to feed him, but they're probably not expecting a run on 3rd and 6 as well. Never mind. Apparently, we thought that was within field goal range, but we missed the kick. There's the play action we needed to mix in, and we're going to complete the pass. Okay, that's working. It is nice to know that if we become a team player for a bit and use our play action to our best ability, we're probably still going to be able to move the ball, so we've done the same thing right here. I didn't want it. I can't even player lock in time, so we're just going to have to hand it off to Jeanty again. And I think what we do here is we take one more shot to the end zone. If we don't get a touchdown, then we kick the field goal. This is a hard call to make though. We have 2 shots to score. Ashton is going to go down at the 2. This could cost us the game at the end of the day, but we're going for it again. He's got to truck through these dudes. Looking back on it, that's going to be one of my worst decisions. But we still get the ball to start the second half, and I need us to just keep on blocking like this. That's exactly what I want to see. I think we're going to be going with a lot of inside runs, though they're on us. This has been a real challenge for me. 3rd and 7, halfback screen, easily picking this up at least. We're past midfield. But then he got subbed out of the game for a bit. Nothing happened, and what is that? It just sent me in the wrong direction. I guess it's going to be 3rd 3rd and 9, but Jeanty is open, wide open, and we can also just take this in. The play action might actually be something that helps us a ton this year. And that's about the only positive thing I have found in running this offensive playbook. Everything else, not been the biggest fan of. I'm trying my best to remember one of the playbooks I've used in a recent rebuild, though. It had a really good run. That's what I feel like we're missing out on. We don't have those play calls. Without them, it's going to be extremely difficult to win the Heisman Trophy, and even on this 3rd down, there's no way we're picking it up. Jeanty's already gotten like 30 carries in this game as well, so we probably need to bench him so the wear and tear doesn't add up. What I don't want is him to go into next week with like -3 speed like we did against Oregon. But if we're going to get the ball down inside the red zone, he can get a couple more carry attempts where he is going to spin and go to the 3. Now we know who it's going to go to from this spot. We want to close this one out, but they are making it extremely difficult to do so. I don't even know if we're going to punch it in on this 3rd and goal. I've just continued to hurry it up. Washington State was also able to score, so if we don't recover this onside kick, they would have had a chance at coming back against us. Instead, we're even returning it for a bit. I might have done too much there with Jeanty, but at least we came away with another win. On 33 rushing attempts, only 124 rushing yards is rough. And all I'm going to say is being a third of the way through the regular season, we are not on pace to break either of Barry Sanders' records. The only challenges I think we're going to complete at the moment are winning the Mountain West and maybe the Heisman Trophy. But even with the Heisman at the moment, somehow Ashton Jeanty isn't up here. It is clear that we should probably stop running it as much as we are. And I think we almost need to get in more passes just so we can hopefully set him up to run in more touchdowns. That is why this will be our first run play of the game, and we are going to fall short of the marker. Maybe that wasn't the best strategy in the world, but we're going to run it back on this next drive, and we can get to that next level with this play. I remember really liking that run out of Marshall's playbook whenever I did my Southern Miss rebuild, but we also need to find stuff like this. I think that had touchdown potential if I hit that hole a little bit better. As promised, though, there will be some more passing plays going on. I'm going to pick up the block for Madsen, and he still almost ran into him. That was ridiculous. Now it's 3rd down, and I possession caught it. Talk about a terrible start for us in this game. If this pitch goes wrong, they would have scored a touchdown right there. We are thankful it did. Maddox Madsen put it behind Ashton Jeanty, though. Right here, this is more of what I was hoping for, and we get more. We have still yet to see like a super huge run out of him. Maybe that could come right here. I mean, the spin is great. No, we got caught. I think if I just moved him over a little bit more to the right, we would have literally had it. At least we are making progress against Utah State, though. Come on. I don't have the patience for this, especially since the backup came in and busted off a 40-yard run. The fresh legs are helping him out so much. I've audibled to an inside zone because of how open that hole was in the middle. But now it's 3rd and 4. We're going to go back to it, and Jeanty is getting held up. That is not going to stop him from getting a touchdown, though. We're handing it off. 4th and inches, he's in. Now, the real trick in this last minute is going to be how much can we do with him? I mean, the speed option keeps getting us a little bit. The truck was beautiful, but I'm not seeing touchdown potential out of it. We all know that the fumble could come eventually, and maybe this is the touchdown potential. This is what I've been waiting for, though there's still one person that could catch him, and we even made him miss. You know what? What it might take is some wildcat. This formation is known for getting some good blocks as well. I think it counts as a run for Ashton, and he is going to reach the end zone. We have done it. We have found a couple more things that are working better for us. But watching it back, it turns out this wasn't a jet sweep. It was a jet touch pass. That really hurts to know that none of that just went towards his rushing total, though he's hit the hole right here. This is an Ashton Jeanty run. No way he's getting caught. I'm liking it, though. We're starting to open things up with him. Speed option, pitch it to him. One guy's definitely going to catch him. You can see him just jetting across the field. We're even going to use a timeout. And that's because if we didn't, he wouldn't have gotten to finish off this drive that he has clearly worked for. You know what? I've liked some of the things I've seen out of this playbook, but we will be switching it up next week. The reason being is it's only been 2 or 3 plays that have stood out to me. Throughout the rest of this video, I want to use a bunch of different types of runs. And at the moment, Ashton Jeanty has 231 rushing yards. This is the best we've done with him. I'm going to keep that in mind because I think it is going to be time to bench him soon so he doesn't get injured. At least his wear and tear seems to be pretty good at the moment. He seems to also be good at taking loads. Right here, we should get the ball, and that is going to lead to another great catch. It is his world, and pretty much all these players are just stuck living in it. We're going to continue to let him do stuff on this drive right here. If he could just get around that safety, we'd be fine. It is literally that ball hawk that just keeps getting over to him and preventing long touchdowns. He's the biggest Travis Hunter fan. He is an an Ashton Jeanty hater. You know what? Between the two of them, I vouched heavily for Jeanty to win the Heisman, but I'm also okay with Travis Hunter winning it. He had an incredible season. The votes were close. I don't even think you could say he was technically robbed. And I even think if Jeanty could have gotten a couple more touchdowns in those final few games, he would have been able to take it home. I'm going for the hurdle. I'm sick of that dude getting in our way. We are actually going to finish this game off so well. At least we should, if we can finish it off with a touchdown. That didn't happen though, and they continued to score, so we've continued to run the ball. We have one more playing us. I would love to see him get one more rushing touchdown out of this game. The question is he going to? And he is. This actually makes me feel really good about his chance at the Heisman again. And when that player of the game stat line pops up, you know it's going to be good. One of those touchdowns is through the air, of course, but he had 345 rushing yards. And it would have been criminal if he didn't win National Offensive Player of the Week. The Heisman watch has also been updated. We are up here with Jalen Milroe and Will Howard. What is going on? That still has plenty of time to change. At the top of the Mountain West Conference, Hawaii is 4-1, just like us. And they're also our next opponent, but we're the real winners here. We get to take a trip to Hawaii. I've decided to give Michigan's playbook a little bit of a look in this game. And I know it has to be decent because Donovan Edwards used it to run all over me, but what is that? Jeanty has come out so tired in this matchup that we are already having our backup in there. That was the second carry of the game. And even after working it all the way down the field, he's not in to get a touchdown. What's weird is he's not on the injury report. And even looking at him on the depth chart, it says the wear and tear is having zero impact. He wouldn't even get back out there until this play here in the second quarter, and I almost don't want him on the field. If he's that exhausted, this is just going to hurt us going forward in the future. We got to get a good block on this 3rd and 2 at least. It seems like there is a hole for him to hit, but he's slow. I wasn't a fan of having him out there, so until we got to this point on the field, he sat on the bench. He had a couple games this season in real life where he only got about 10 carries. This is probably going to be one of them. But the benefit to that is if he comes in that fresh, he also feels a lot better. We have an issue though, and that's here in the 3rd quarter, the fact that we are in a tied game. We're going to have to use him whether he is healthy or not at this point because there's no way that we can lose at this point in the year. It might seem early, but if we lose one more of those games, you know that we're not making it to the playoffs. And I'm just thankful that after we punted the ball, we've gotten it back in a pretty good spot. The blocks are also lining up perfectly here. He has 12 carries, 87 yards. This has been a much more efficient performance. The hurdle is getting him caught up. And that's why I think he's done for this drive. Even with a timeout called, he was not out there for 3rd and goal. We just have to watch on this 4th and goal. I mean, this is pretty much our season right here. Please score the touchdown at least. That's literally going to be it for him in this game though. As you can see, we can't be out there. It's been the most stressful thing in the world, but fortunately, even after they stopped us, they've punted it back. And I saw Ashton Jeanty fair catch that. You can tell he is not really built to be out there at the moment, but we're still going to see if we can get this team down the field. All we have to do is get them into field goal range. I think we are about to get out of bounds, and we literally just need that one more time if they're willing to give it to us, which they have done again. He might have been used as a decoy right there, but it paid off. Please just drill this kick. Keep those playoff hopes alive. And I can't believe what we just had to deal with. Our backup running back actually won player of the game, and Ashton could have had 2 touchdowns, but they literally didn't let me have him out there. What I will say though is there's no better feeling than this bye week because we needed the rest more than ever. If he's going to get to this point, I just have to manage his workload better. And this is where we need to be able to edit real players because he has the recoup ability, but we can't do anything about it because his stamina is too low. He's been getting a couple more carries a game than he did in real life, but this is still realistic. And I already started with the fatigue down knowing that, but I think we're going to put it a little bit lower. If anybody should be able to take that big of a load, it's him, and now we have our biggest matchup. UNLV is 6-1. They're pretty good. They're going to be the toughest team that we face on the rest of our schedule most likely. But I'm hoping that they're not going to realize what hit them because they're getting a healthy Ashton Jeanty. Even if they're putting 8 players in the box, it is his time to shine. The blocks are lining up well already. We're going to take a huge run to open up this game. 30 yards just like that. This time they didn't have as many players down there in the box. But for whatever reason, that seemed to help them and we're taking a sack. I trusted Maddox in that situation. He can't even get this ball out. But our defense did a great job getting us it at midfield and now we have a chance at another big run. I should be keeping his carries down, but we know it's not going to happen. From now until our final game in the regular season, it's 6 straight matchups. There's no bye weeks in the middle. So I'm really hoping his wear and tear doesn't end up getting too bad. What are you doing? It has been a challenge to watch Maddox back there in the pocket. We might have to run it a lot more. For a big matchup like this, I did go back to the Marshall playbook, but they're not getting fooled with the speed option. I think we're in a ton of trouble in this game. On 3rd and 17, we don't even get it. But after we just got an interception, our defense is certainly a gift. I mean, we still have to be able to score to end this first half, but we have it in a really good spot, and Ashton Jeanty is gonna dust number 13. You can't hold his jockstrap. Nice try. We have taken care of things before the end of the half. And guess who turned the ball over again? We are literally getting so lucky against them. Come on. That's the type of fight that I want to see, though. Look at how many players they have down here to stop the run on 3rd and 3, and they still can't. At the moment, we're in single back, so I understand why they're coming out like this. But then when I want to spread things out, run the speed option, because that does use the length of the field, they are not prepared for it, and that's perfect. I don't know what it is about that one, but it's like the one that didn't break after the title update. And we just got to find some other run plays in this playbook to mix in so we can continue to dominate. I have no issues with running off as much clock as we can late in the 3rd quarter, all the way until the 4th. I mean, we're starting to go farther. But even if the carries are getting us more yards, we need to have as few as possible. Again, we have 6 straight games in a row. We cannot afford for him to miss any. We aren't even in the top 25 right now. And I think he's looking pretty good at the moment, though we are throwing on this down. Why would you throw that ball, Maddox? Why? Nobody called for it. He just decided to hand it to UNLV. I'm so glad we were able to get it back, but they literally have 9 dudes down here ready to stop Ashton, and he still finds some holes. I mean, this is just ridiculous. It might be time to start getting him some direct snaps, punch it to the outside, and see how far you can go. Keep on pushing. We really only need a few more first downs, and I think we're going to be good to seal this one against the Rebels. He just said, get off of me. I actually really like that direct snap play as well. The blocks lined up well. We even pancaked them. Everything is starting to come together in this playbook, though they got us. We could end this game with a first down, but it's going to be super hard to do unless we held that block, of course. And then we would have had the outside for sure, but if they're going to bring guys in, you know what our plan is. Ashton just has to outrun number 2, and Ashton can do that. It is time for him to be the Heisman favorite in this dynasty. And we're walking out of Allegiant Stadium with a double-digit win. I think something needs to be said about how good we perform whenever we use this playbook as well. And it feels like everything is starting to come together. But before we finish the rest of this video, a word from Prize Picks, today's video sponsor. As this video is going up, we're getting the first ever 12-team college football playoff. And if you think that you know sports, this is a great opportunity to predict player performances, choosing higher or lower on their projections, especially since Prize Picks is now available in over 40 states. They also just came out with 1000x entries, so you can test your luck trying to turn $5 into 5,000 with 6 demon picks. And I can get you some free cash to start out with on there too, as CodeBoard will get you $50 instantly whenever you play with your first $5 plus lineup. But now it's time to resume the rest of this video. We still haven't made it to the top 25 though, even though our only loss is against Oregon, who's undefeated just like they were in real life. And there's no way that after a performance like that, Cam Rising is winning the Heisman vote. He can't even stay healthy for a full season, but this is a little bit of an update. We are just on track to break some of Barry Sanders' records. It's going to be difficult. All that we can do though is keep on winning, and next up is San Diego State. I can't believe how excited I am to just run the ball 30 times a game, but this has been surprisingly satisfying. And I think it's because you really have to work for those big runs, and they're not always going to happen. The one issue with this Marshall playbook is there's literally one stretch play in it, and they're tackling us. So what I'm going to do on 3rd and 11 is have a little bit of fun. They didn't follow the jet touch pass. They thought that we were going to give it back to Ashton, and he's got a hurdle to get to the marker. A 3 and out might not be the best way to start the game, but at least we got the ball back and it's still scoreless. So now we just have to do something with it, and there we go. There's some good blocks. At the moment, Jeanty's only averaging 4 yards per carry, so we'll mix in the speed option, but they're also coming off of it. As good as that run has been for us, I've also seen defenses handle it pretty well. We could have had a touchdown. The pancake right off the rip was literally incredible there. He does it again too. I think we have found our answer. If the blocks hold with a run like this, we should have a touchdown. We mixed in an RPO beforehand in that one off, but it was basically the same run. And this should be interesting right here. A little bit of an RPO to get Ashton out in space where he's going to have a pretty good reception. This has been how we needed to open this game up, even if some runs aren't perfect. And I think we can really capitalize off of where the defense is at on the field at the moment. The pitch is going to be behind Jeanty though, and he can't get around that dude. I think that could have been a 30, a 40-yard run. Instead though, it didn't work out that way, and they just have defenders ready to chase him down. It might make some sense to stick with a run like this once we get down near the red zone, because we saw it pay off. But you know what? I also believe in using some play action if they're going to commit so heavily to the run. We'll take the passing yards. Right here, there could be a lane for a touchdown. We just gotta have that held. We were half a second away from going up 14-0. Just truck through this dude. He can't hold you. I don't like a 3rd and goal, but it is gonna work for us. And then San Diego State scored in literally one play. I don't even think I can use Jeanty as a receiver. He didn't have a route right there, and we'll give him one more run to end this first half. But yeah, if this isn't working out for him, we're just gonna have to pass it. It is more important that we go back to having a 2-possession lead. If we can do stuff out of the backfield, that also goes well. Here we go, running a wheel route. We have our drag open. I'm able to make a block with Jeanty, and we get out of bounds. That's actually perfect too, because I feel comfortable trusting him to get us into the end zone from this point. There's plenty of time left. They have a dude in the way, so there's going to be a flag on this play no matter what. And of course, we're going to decline it as he gets his 3rd rushing touchdown. Maddox Madsen would also have a 72-yard touchdown pass in the 3rd quarter. So I think it's safe to say this one's gotten out of hand pretty fast, and we don't need to use a bunch of carries with him. He's already at 22 carries in this game, so even after getting the ball back, I'm not sure I should be letting him go to work like this. But I did notice he only had 110 rushing yards in this game at one point, so he almost needs to get more. I'll let him try to finish this one off with a touchdown, and then we'll be done. But that could take a little bit since he's getting like 4 or 5 yards per carry. Right there, he had a great boost. I wish I knew how to replicate that every single time, because if so, we would have some huge runs. I mean, he goes to the 1. And this direct snap play might be the most effective one that we have. In the end, we're going to win this game 35-17. We pretty much dominated. And Ashton Jeanty walks away with 168 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns. I think the sweet spot for no wear and tear effects is just under 30 carries a game. And he is finally jumped up to #1 in the Heisman projection. Now he just has to hold this spot. I'm a bit surprised that we're still not ranked at 7-1, but we have a rivalry coming up. And we should still get the Group of 5 automatic bid to the playoffs as long as we can just win this conference. Looking at this crowd, you can tell that they are ready for this rivalry against Nevada. But our defense might not be. They've already given up 3 points, so we have to respond. All of these runs that involve a left or right guard getting pulled, though, just don't work. And I'm gonna see if I can get out there to block for this jet touch pass, because I feel like if I did, we should have had a first. All in all, it's been a pretty rough start to this game, but at least we got the ball back. And now it's 3rd and 10, where I think I'm just gonna have to call for it, and we're gonna have to truck our way to get past the marker. As good as the Marshall playbook was at one point, I think some of the run plays are starting to get old. So we might have to go on a search again, and we'll see if we can get the first down. No, it's a fumble. That's the first one out of Ashton all season. It was definitely a fumble too, but fortunately we recovered it. And they're just there to stop the run. They have been in the perfect position all game so far. It feels like the Oregon one. And we literally have 21 yards on 8 carries. It doesn't get much worse than that, though Ashton Jeanty is going to change everything by dusting these kids. They thought that they could overcommit. The second that pitch goes 15 yards behind us, we're in trouble. But it didn't right there. We have the ball back, and they're once again stopping us. They're just committing to making sure that he can't win the Heisman Trophy. Let him work. I mean, to be fair, I think we've thrown for like 500 total yards this season, so their defense does make sense, but look at that. We're now over 100 rushing yards, and the slow start doesn't feel like such a slow start anymore. The key to success, though, will be finishing off this drive, and I should have never gone to the outside. I think we might get stuck kicking a field goal right here unless all of them can just do their job. It's better for us to flip this stretch play to that side if our receiver blocks that kid. I see a vision, but I'm a bit worried that we've already given it to Ashton too much in this first half. He needs to just end the drive with a touchdown, and I want to keep him under 30 carries a game, but I think he's already at 20. It might have been worth it for a 2-touchdown lead at the half, but we also have to be able to do things in the second half, and I was stuck on that play, but we're still getting it. I can confirm he does have 20 rushing attempts in this game already, but he only has like 150 yards, and I want to finish this one with 250, which could happen if we get a big play like this right here. Don't catch us. Don't catch us. I'm literally speechless. He just left that dude shook. It even caught me so off guard, I almost let one fly, and I never ever cuss on this channel. If it slips out, it can be edited out, but it could have been justified in that situation. I'm a pretty monotone guy, so if you ever hear me like raise my voice even a little bit, it means I'm pretty shocked at something that's going on out there. I mean, even if that run didn't get us like any yards, he threw a dude off of him before getting tackled. And this might be a sign that we should just take our win and rest him in the fourth. I think I'm gonna give him 5 more carries, and then that's gonna be it. And after punting it back to them, then getting the ball back, nothing has really changed. We're just gonna keep on running down the clock clock, the direct snap gets us a first. But I can tell that he's not as fast as he normally is, and the wear and tear is picking up on his body, but he's still getting us like 15. After that, I decided to rest him, but if we're going to get down to the 2-yard line, we might as well let him score another. These are the performances you need to see out of a Heisman winner. And our defense shut down our rivals, only letting them score 3 points. This can't be a big one to Boise State, though. It doesn't even have a rivalry name. Player of the game goes to Jeanty, of course, 248 yards, 4 tutties. And of course, I'm continuing to monitor his health closely, and I can see that 29 carries could be a little bit too much. Only -1 speed going into this game, but he's already starting off at a slight disadvantage. Which is why I'm glad to say that not only are we still at the top of the Mountain West standings, but we have found ourselves inside the top 25 at number 17. I'm not sure if it's because we have a Heisman finalist or what, but we have shot above a lot of the other 3 lost schools. And my hope going into this game against San Jose State is we can have a big lead at halftime so we can just bench Jeanty. They spent quite a lot of time getting on the board, but they do have a lead. But it doesn't faze me. That's the same way the last game started, and we ended up winning 28-3. Ashton Jeanty could start this game off so well if he can just continue to outrun 25, and I think this is his biggest run of the season. He is already putting them to sleep. It's the first quarter. 75 yards to the crib like that is just spectacular. But I'm remembering not to give him too many carries. If I supplement it with giving him catches, it feels like he's getting a break, but he really isn't. And the Spartans would score a touchdown after that, so we are in a spot where you can't get tripped up. We might have actually had a touchdown right there. We could have even had it here. You just never know with him when he's going to bust off a big one. We've let our team pass for a play. It's working out. Except the ball got loose. That didn't make me feel great, but after another completion, it's time to go back to work on the ground. Let's hurdle over this safety. One of these days, that's probably not going to work the way that we really need it to. And he's just going to straight up fumble it away, but at least with the direct snap, it is now on the 3. Just seeing how the defense is aligned, I'm a little bit scared to go back to it again, but it is going to pay off. And we even have the ball again with 43 seconds left in this first half. I'm going to see if we can get a touchdown out of it, though that's a terrible read. I'm going to need Maddox to have a little bit more time back there too. But after seeing how that went, it's probably best that this is just the final play of the half that they're gonna stop. It's been pretty clear to me that teams definitely do have answers to the speed option. And San Jose State could very well still win this game. I mean, on 3rd down, it's out of reach. Rodney Robinson has come up with a huge interception though. And all we have to do from here is just score another touchdown. Ashton Jeanty getting a great look at one. He makes that kid look silly and they can't catch him. He's just continuing to hit that Heisman pose. He deserves it. And all I'm gonna say is thank goodness Boise State plays in the Mountain West Conference. If I was playing a bunch of SEC teams, I can guarantee this would not be as much fun. And I almost need to consider pulling him out from the game at this point so he doesn't take the chance of getting injured. At the moment though, he's only 15 carries deep. We can probably feed him 5 more times. But I need him to do something with these runs if it's gonna be worth it for us. You know what? On 3rd and 3, they are pressing heavily. I've decided to let our quarterback put it up in the air. But a drop pass and a missed field goal means that San Jose State is still in this. As you can see, they're just settling for a field goal. And since they haven't used any of their timeouts, if we don't get one more first down run, this game could go to overtime, but instead, it is set up for a huge run from Ashton. Where's this kid coming from? You're gonna look silly, buddy. What do you think you're gonna do? One-on-one in the open field, and he thought he was about to make that tackle. San Jose State even had a slight chance at coming back until their extra point got blocked. But what a game all around. We had 2 75-yard touchdown runs with Jeanty. It's still not gonna be his best performance all year, but just comparing it to the game against Utah State, on 18 carries, that efficiency is so much higher. He averaged almost 16 yards per carry. We've definitely found our rhythm, and we are the highest group of 5 team ranked in the top 25. In fact, we might be the only ones up here besides UNLV. But if we're gonna get in, we probably still need to make sure that we win out. You never really know what could happen when you play on the road in conference play. But I do like that our defense has already gotten a stop in this game, and these defenders seem to be catching up to him quickly. If we're about to break off some huge runs, that's not necessarily the best sign in the world, though that cut right there was great. But the second hesitation did not work as well. He didn't get that speed boost. Now on 2nd and 10, after going absolutely nowhere, the halfback draw works wonders. And I think we got to start mixing in some direct snaps already, though right here, there's no reason we should get a first. I hit that hole so poorly. We've come out in goal line on this next one. We need the blocks to pick up on the outside. and now we got to make a dude lose his ankles. That is the only halfback toss in this playbook, along with this play right here. Those players hesitated for a second, but they were still able to keep up with Jeanty. We barely got this halfback screen. We've spun the wrong way. We're just continuing to go backwards. This is bad. We didn't even get to be out there for the 3rd and 15 that we clearly were not going to pick up. And it's a scoreless game here in the second quarter, but we are starting to get some stuff going. The main thing that we really have to avoid is just making sure we don't have any of those huge losses of yards. But I also get a little bit concerned of only about 6 yards per carry because he's getting tired. It is now 3rd and 3, and Jeanty is going to get the handoff. He has to make this kid miss, and he just gets enough. But I think he's already had like 12 carries in this game, so we're just going to need this drive to end soon, and right here we can go all the way to the red zone. With how much time it's taking us to get down the field as well, that is going to make sure that there's not much left in this first half. And 100 yards on 14 carries isn't the worst stats in the world. I'll definitely take them, but that's going to help out. He just had a great burst of acceleration. And then we got the ball back with a couple of minutes left in this first half. This is probably a bad spot to call for it. I'm going to lead to an interception. I shouldn't have done that. I hate to say it, but that one mistake alone is going to make sure that this one is a tie game going into halftime unless we had a huge play. It really shouldn't be close versus the Cowboys. But we have passed for negative yards. And one of the only runs I haven't used much of in this playbook is the power reads. That clearly isn't going too well, though. It's now 3rd and 12. It's another interception. We're going to have to make a tackle with Ashton. I don't even know where they're at. Come on. Wyoming's been set up with a 3-point lead. We've got to be playing better. Jeanty's able to get by both those defenders. He's still fighting. The problem, though, is we still have another 56 yards to go down the field, and look at that. He's about 20 carries deep now, so we need to start limiting how much he gets the ball. It seemed like about 30 was still that sweet spot. But it's very challenging to do that when we're still losing, and right here could be a touchdown run. Come on. I think it's time we start mixing in a couple of passes. Right here, though, it could have been intercepted. And that's exactly why he just needs to get more carries for us, though he's not going anywhere. Here on 3rd and 7, I'm kind of expecting us to just have to settle for a field goal, though he is one guy to make miss and he can't. The blocks really lined up well right there. We're going to see if they can do it again. And they did. So I figured out that we can flip this run if it is needed. Right here, make a guy miss, get the first. Jeanty's now at 26 rushing attempts in this game. Making this catch is just another wear and tear hit. But if we want to seal this game, we need him to be out there, and I just got to be able to bounce that one to the outside. I have a feeling that for next week's game, he's going to be pretty exhausted. I can already see it. But at least we're in a spot where a couple more first downs gets us the win right here, and he could even have a touchdown if he can just outrun 31. I mean, he is tired. It's going to be hard to get to that point. But he has had a spectacular game, and right here, he's going for the touchdown. Just got to get through him. I think I've decided that he's just going to have to deal with the wear and tear effects versus Oregon State. And this is a huge 3rd and goal. An extra touchdown really would help his stats. You know what? We're going to take the risk. I'm going to let him get one more carry. It pays off. And that touchdown could be what helps him break Barry Sanders' touchdown record. I do not appreciate that Wyoming made that game so tough, but I think we have locked our spot into the conference championship. It's either going to be against UNLV or New Mexico. I'm assuming it's going to be the Rebels at this point. And I really like how we're starting to just fly up the top 25 polls. I'm also shocked to say that Ashton Jeanty has no wear and tear impacts at all, so he will be fully healthy for our final game of the regular season. I have decided we will get one game in the blue jerseys on the blue turf. I think it's going to look bad, but luck's been on our side. We got a turnover, so this drive has started on the 28. Between a run from Madsen and a run from Jeanty, we are already breaking tackles going to the 3, and he might just get a touchdown on his 3rd carry of this game. What a start. I was gonna say shout out to Oregon State for that, but then they scored a touchdown on their next drive, and we have a long way to go if we're gonna get down the field, though this right here could have been a huge run. I think we've started to find some really good things in this playbook. The blocks are lining up perfectly, and Jeanty is gonna hit the edge, but he's still getting out. I feel like in real life that would have been a touchdown. I mean, things lined up for him perfectly. We got to make that defender miss. Now we're gonna run it to the other side, see how the blocks look over here. And on 2nd and 6, it's a read option, but he was getting this carry no matter what. Blocks look good. We just got to get through 2 of them. You can see the wear and tear effects under his body already at this point in the game, so clearly he was damaged going into it. But if he punches this in, he has 2 touchdowns, 100 yards, and they're all over him. Direct snap again, though. We'll run it 3 times in a row. And I just want to get this man his Heisman trophy. Here on this next drive, I think it's better if we just throw the ball while he sits back and blocks. But if Madsen makes a bad read, I'm going to be super upset about it. Look at that. I thought he put that on the money, but apparently he missed him. Now we're going to go with the halfback screen, see if Jeanty can do anything. And I swear there was a touchdown there if he was just a little bit quicker. Pitch works out well. 2 guys that need to miss. It might actually be time to bring out the jet sweep. We've used this play 1 time this season. It resulted in a touchdown, and right here, it's going to result in a really big game. We are going for 3 touchdowns before the end of the first half. They've got to be on the ground. And I think we're just going to have to hurry it up out of this inside zone, but we might call a timeout after this play. I decided not to. I figured it'd be better if the clock ran down a little bit. Here we go. Touchdown number 3. And since we already have a 2-possession lead here in the second half, I'm not sure how much we're going to use it. I feel like we should be able to hang on to this. We had a good block there for a second. And then the next time that we're getting the ball, we are on like the 5-yard line, which is never great. Here's the thing though, with the speed option, this is either going to go super wrong or it's going to be like a 90-yard touchdown if he is able to just get around that last defender. And he's already gotten 20 carries in this game, but he could be having even more. 2nd and 7, they're not following the jet sweep, but the toss is going to get him out in space a little bit. And all we're going to do is end this third quarter with a first down run. With where things are sitting at the moment, I'm pretty happy. We have play action getting worked in right here, which did nothing. And I think a halfback draw into this defense could be disastrous, though we break 1 tackle and he almost probably lost that ball. If your running back's ever going airborne, it's probably not a great sign. The third down's going to be short. And Oregon State was able to score so quickly that now we have to run out the final 3 minutes. If we didn't have a bye week before the conference championship, we would be in a lot of trouble. He is exhausted. And they've brought like everyone up for this 3rd and 5 because they knew we were going to run the ball. All it took was 2 plays though for us to get an interception. And now we have a minute and a half to try and get him 1 more touchdown versus the Beavers. I think this is worth it. I know that we're pretty close to Barry Sanders' record at the moment, but after playing 6 games in a row, the wear and tear is seriously picking up. If we don't get this, we're just going to kick our field goal, let the game end, but he is so close to getting in now. And I know he's already had 30 carries in this game, but I don't care. There is a bye week coming up. If he limps off this field, as long as he gets that 4th touchdown, that's what's important. And I think we have done enough with Boise State to still have a chance at completing all our challenges. Earlier on in this video, I was a bit worried that our stats weren't going to be good enough, but I think by now we're fine because we've won like half of the National Offensive Player of the Weeks. We've also gotten New Mexico in the conference championship. But to be honest, I think I would have preferred playing against UNLV. They must have lost to the Lobos at some point. Now, if we lose this next matchup, there's a chance we just drop entirely out of the top 12. We are not a playoff lock. And believe it or not, in this conference championship game, we have 4 of these challenges that are on the line. The first one, to win the Mountain West, we just have to beat New Mexico. That's a no-brainer. And the second one is winning the Heisman, but unless we fumble like 3 times, I think that's also a lock. When it comes to breaking some of Barry Sanders' records, though, we could do the season rushing yards by getting 198 rushing yards. If we get 2 touchdowns, that would break the season touchdown record. Or maybe it would just tie it up, so we need to get 3 rushing touchdowns, and then of course like 200 rushing yards. I can't remember whether or not we've played New Mexico this year, but I think we can beat them. And that's why our main focal point is seeing how many rushing yards we're able to rack up. I can already tell with the defensive look that we're getting, some of these runs aren't working. And that's how we already find ourselves on a 3rd and 11. We're just gonna have to pitch this though. It's gone backwards for the first time, and we've scooped it up for a loss of yards, but we made it back to the marker. You know what I'm starting to think? It might not be a glitch. I might be getting hit before that ball comes out. It's so hard to tell because that was a glitch at one point in this game. I mean, we've just lost yards throughout this entire one. There's only one play I trust to get us this first down as well. It's the jet touch pass, and Jeanty gets caught still. I feel like we have not had a slower start than we've had in this game, though right here could be a huge run for him. Just outrun this one kid. Come on, come on, all the way to the crib, Jeanty. That is how you do it. We needed that moment from him. It had been super rough, and I have zero shame in going right back to the stretch run because that's what worked on that play. Come on, we got to be able to be a bit quicker. The burst of acceleration, him hitting that second gear is what I'm looking for once we get to the outside, and right here, there's no way it happens. I do like how we're starting to get some bigger gains though, and on this play, blocks look good again, make a kid miss, another one, we're gonna break the tackle. Ashton Jeanty is having a career performance all of a sudden. What has happened? This is starting to feel a little bit more realistic, and I'm not sure what happened. I accidentally simmed another touchdown. I was going one play at a time, but they threw an interception, and on the next snap, he rushed for another. So that means he has broken Barry Sanders' touchdown record in a season, but he still needs to get some more rushing yards. He might already be experiencing some wear and tear, but that's completely fine, because at the moment, he's at 198 rushing yards in this game, and he might just get another touchdown right here. I mean, what has happened to this New Mexico defense? They look so good at the start of this game, and I'm almost wondering if we should let him play the rest of the first half before we just decide to bench him for the rest of this one. I decided, though, it was much more important that he was healthy for the playoffs because I want to be able to win a national championship. And he finished this game with stats like that on only 11 carries. It was his best performance of the season. I mean, it's not even close. And as you can see, he's just going to rack up these awards. I'm expecting the Heisman Trophy coming up soon. and it's gonna occur right here. He didn't even need the playoff games to cement his spot in the record books, breaking both of Barry Sanders' records. And of all the goals that I wrote down before this video, the only one that we have left is win a championship. I think it's pretty helpful that we've been able to get a first round bye. But I'll tell you right now, I would have much rather played Texas Tech than Ole Miss. It's gonna be a lot harder to run the ball versus them, and even though we got that first round bye, we are the worst team that is still left standing in this playoff. It might be time to let Maddox Madsen start to throw the ball a little bit more. I mean, his season stats aren't good. That's because it was all about how much we ran it. And I didn't even intend for this to happen, but Ashton Jeanty was also our leading receiver. It's time for the moment of truth though. Can I win a championship just controlling a running back? I mean, I've found the best plays in this playbook, but this is a hard opponent. Basically, their entire defensive line is full of players with abilities they're shedding immediately. I don't know how we're going to be able to pull this off, but we'll see if we can still make it happen. It also doesn't help us that they already scored on their first offensive drive. But you know what? We need to have a little bit of faith in this team. Using the halfback screen, our blocks are going to hold. I can make both those kids miss. Come on, we'll get the first. They shouldn't have let Ashton Jeanty rest. With all that rest, he's going to be at his best. And if we had to play 4 playoff games, I don't think we would stand a chance against a team like Ole Miss. I do find myself already having to use some of our best running plays, though if it pays off for stuff like a touchdown, it's worth it. I mean, we are set up to get one right here, especially if they collapse in on Madsen. We just need Jeanty to be able to get around those 2 players. It's a tough spot to be in here on 1st and goal, immediately shed. And we are already approaching the end of the first quarter right here. Blocks could have been better, but he didn't hold him for long enough. Our tight end got to where he needed to be, but he just didn't make a good enough play. At least Jeanty is still gonna score. Ole Miss would take a lot of time off the clock, but they'd only get a field goal out of their drive, so now we're in a decent spot going into this next one. He only has 11 carries so far, so he shouldn't be getting too tired yet, though we got to get past that defender. Even if these guys are faster and better than what we played in conference play, there's big play potential. And I think it's gonna have to come out of the speed option. We just got to pitch this last second, and he could have a breakaway touchdown right here. No way anybody catches him. Ashton Jeanty putting us up. We're going to make it to the semifinals, I think. Could that be a little bit premature? Maybe. But as you can see, with a minute left in this first half, our defense has gotten us the ball back again, and that could have been intercepted. It might just be best if we take our lead going into the half. We don't go for more points, though we could get them. I see the vision. We just got to keep this drive alive with a first down, and he's going to get it. All right, 40 seconds left on the clock now. We have plenty of time back there. Do not take a sack. Well, that's certainly hurts our chance of getting points on this one, and I'm just gonna let Ashton Jeanty have one more chance to break off a big run, though we've pitched it way behind him. That was clearly not the way we should have closed out the second quarter, but we do have it here in the third. All we have to do with this drive is finish it off with a touchdown, then we'd have a 2-possession lead. I am a little bit worried that we have given Ashton too much work in this game already though, because he still would have more games. He's 19 carries deep, and we just started the second half, but it's paid off for us. Not only did he do this against Mountain West competition all season, but he's also going to do it against an SEC opponent. It wasn't a fluke. This has been one of his best performances yet. But the Rebels scored so quickly, and now we have to avoid the defensive tackle, which didn't work. If he was just a couple speeds faster, I think I could have turned that play into a touchdown run. But instead, it's looking like we're going to have to give it back to Ole Miss unless we pick up this 3rd and 6, and we're not. They would score again, which means we didn't have the win locked up the way it felt like we did. Now we have no choice but to force feed it to Ashton Jeanty. I mean, that block was great from our lineman, but you can see that he is very clearly exhausted. I think it's got to be time for him to take a play off right here, as long as we don't take a sack. I mean, he's so tired that even if he does get this pitch, he's not outrunning those kids. They were prepared for it. Now it's 3rd and 13. They've sent in a blitz. We did not see him right there. Oh my gosh, I just had the worst call for the ball ever. I think this game's over. For whatever reason, I thought they were in man-to-man, so we were just wide open. Even when I can't control the quarterback, I'm still responsible for interceptions. This is such a terrible way for our season to end. I mean, I can't call for it in this spot. We just had to trust our other receivers. And Jeanty's too tired to do much else here, though. If we can get over to the sideline, it would help. The problem is that clock is continuing to run. They've swatted it down. And I don't even feel good about handing it off on this 3rd and 1. We're going to be short. There's going to be almost no way for us to get this ball back without an onside kick at this point. We need to score a touchdown like on this play right now. I'm not even calling for it. By the way, his wear and tear showed up before calling this play. It's bad. He is like -14 speed at the moment. It's going to be 4th and 3, and I had to use another timeout. You know what? Just to keep our chances alive, I'm okay with taking a field goal. And this is where Ashton Jeanty just needs to hope for the best, but they're going to snag that ball out of midair. Whenever I can only control one position, I am never able to win a championship. And it's crazy that even after losing, he won player of the game. It really just comes back to this call for the ball. And as you can see, no, this was man-to-man coverage. I called it outright. But there was just another dude over there lurking, and I didn't see him. He blended in with the logo. I do feel a little bit better about our loss, though, because Ole Miss went on to win the entire thing. And either way, we had a really fun season with Ashton Jeanty. I mean, these are stats you're never going to see out of a running back. There were some of these games where he just had insane numbers. And if you want to see me do the same thing with Travis Hunter, make sure to let me know in the comments. But at least for now, just check out some of my other content.